kind of a little exercise right here is to think about what niche you want to get involved in. I like to start off with, like, if you use ChatGPT a lot, it probably knows a lot about you, a lot of the requests you've made. So you can actually just ask it. You could say, please come up with 15 print-on-demand niche ideas based on what you know about me and my interests. And if you've been using it a lot, maybe you ask a lot of questions about, like, mountain biking or maybe playing pickleball or whatever. It can say, like, hey, you're interested in these things. And that's kind of just a good way to start thinking about what kind of niches you might want to be involved in. You also want to really factor in what kind of niches have the right criteria to be a good one. So a high level of interest is really, really important. A group that really feels like that's part of their identity. They really care a lot about it. And of course, they need to be very committed to that enough to actually want to express it on, like, a mug or on a t-shirt or on some wall art or something like that. I recommend looking to make sure that there's, like, a Reddit group or an X like account or anything that really focuses on that, because that's kind of a good validator to say that, yes, there is a community that's very interested in this. So if you're interested in, like, little micro pigs, like, maybe there's a Reddit group about that. And if you find it, you say, okay, there's a big enough audience that people actually would be interested in buying something related to this. We also want to make sure they have disposable income. So some niche examples would be, like, golf is a really good one. It's very expensive to play golf, in my opinion. Like, $70 a week to go play. Like, that's people that are doing that have disposable income. And so they're also very, very interested in that. There's huge YouTube channels, huge groups on Reddit that just, like, people spend so much time thinking about golf. That's a great example there. Astrology, people literally wear necklaces with their signs on them. So that's a big part of identity. Any kind of hobby, like I said, mountain biking, it could be, like, a lot of other things I'll talk about throughout this video. But it doesn't have to be, like, a long-term thing somebody identifies with. You could also do print on demand for pop culture type things. It could be the latest meme on the internet. It could be any kind of, like, current events that are going on. Those are great opportunities for an arbitrage to make a product, and, like, maybe no one else is really selling that yet, which gives you a really nice competition advantage. Also, baby humor is another good example. Like, it doesn't have to be for the actual buyer. It could be, like, a lot of people buy, like, bibs or onesies for their baby, and they put whatever they want in there. It could be funny, it could be whatever. That's also a great opportunity there. Seasonal products is another idea. So kind of similar to, like, the memes and current events. St. Patrick's Day is coming up, and a lot of people are going to a St. Patrick's Day party, and they're probably going to want to wear something that might be, like, a funny shirt or something related to St. Patrick's Day. Maybe white elephant gifts around Christmas would be another example. There's a lot of opportunities based on the season that you could change and kind of, again, get that arbitrage, because larger companies might not be looking for seasonal sales like that. Travel and tourism is another great idea, although somewhat more of a limited market. That's really probably better to sell in person, but something you could still consider if it's a new and up and coming destination. A lot of people may be traveling to some town in Tennessee that you know about, and that could be a good opportunity to advertise locally there and really start to get those sales up. Political, of course, is a huge one. I'm not going to talk much about that in this video, not trying to get anyone angry there, but just know that, every 4 years in the US, there's a new presidential cycle going on. And so plenty of opportunity to, like, a lot of people get very, very invested in this. And you could even play both sides, make some apparel on either side for what's really interesting, what's going on. And a lot of people would probably be buying that. That's something that you really see as a trend. And I'll show you that in some examples in a minute. And of course, just general humor always seems to do quite well. Now, one last thing before we start doing research on the actual design, because right now you're probably like, all right, let's go. Like, I'm ready to make this design. One more thing to think about is these little questions right here, right? What is going to make your product unique? Will you have sales international or just domestic? Because our supplier that we'll talk about does actually sell in 32 different countries. So you could do international if you really wanted to. Is your product going to be shareable? You want to keep that in mind, something that's interesting that somebody, like, sends to a friend, or maybe they gift it to a friend, something like that. And really a big one, the reason I have this book over here is maybe you want to consider, are you doing this for a purpose? Is this going to be for every one, wall art print that gets purchased, you donate, like, a pair of socks or shoes to another country? Maybe $1 gets donated to, some tree foundation or something like that. Things that maybe could make the end user or the end customer feel a little bit better about buying your product and kind of be proud to be an owner of that.